Greetings, it's Bromley. Why does my face look like this? Because I was a Californian that moved to Texas and got ravaged by the pollen and allergen and bugs. And at 37 years old, it gave me rosacea. So it's the Texas equivalent of Montezuma's Revenge. Moving on, we're here to talk about Daredevil Born Again and how I was right. The first 2 episodes I reviewed, and I said this shit is overrated. Overrated, meaning people were rating it high, and I came in and said, it's not that good. And people lost their minds in the comments. Now, given that this channel is relatively new and small, I had an alarming number of people repeating the exact same cope, which is that it's only 2 episodes in. There's nothing to review. There were nearly 2 hours of solid content between episode 1 and episode 2. That's like saying that the reviews of The Force Awakens weren't valid because you didn't see the other 2 movies in the trilogy yet. I'm quickly finding out that getting into this space, this is like taking up a hobby of reviewing Taylor Swift songs. The only people watching it are going to be Swifties, and they're all fucking crazy. You have exactly one right answer you can give these people, or they're going to ratio your shit into the ground. We got a nice article here, Daredevil Born Again viewership, worse than thought, below freaking Echo, before the deaf Native American amputee that nobody gave a shit about. Disney has already confirmed Daredevil Born Again only had 7.5 million views in its first 5 days. That number is right around what Agatha got. Agatha all along. They're getting their data from Luminate, which is owned by Penske Media, and Luminate's data claimed Loki season 2 is at the bottom of the list. Now that said, Luminate's chart shows that Daredevil Born Again's first week came in lower than both Echo and Secret Invasion. Luminate also revealed that as of the second week, Born Again is trailing Agatha, Loki season 2, and Secret Invasion. By day 10, it's also behind Echo. Not a good sign. Now to recap, my complaints for episodes 1 and 2 were, to summarize, melodrama, worse than in the original Netflix series, which was pretty ham-fisted if I do say so, and nerfing the Kingpin. That was a big one. It's a big baddie. They give him almost equal screen time to Matt Murdock, and there's just nothing there. They took this behemoth of a supervillain and turned him into like penis slug Jerry. He's in couples counseling. He was cucked by his wife. He's now a politician. He can't do any crime boss shit. So now we're watching like the worst iteration of a political play-by-play drama that you've ever seen, where we get a see him sit in on meetings and give speeches, and we get to see him plan to like start city projects and, get zoning ordinances passed, like riveting fucking stuff. And there's a lack of action because that's where the plot went. Matt Murdock isn't Daredevil right now. Now, episode 3, I must say, was a brief respite. White Tiger's trial. It was pretty interesting drama, and I thought it was going to be part of a bigger arc over the entire show until the end, where you see the dumbest conclusion to White Tiger's saga. He's out just walking on like a sidewalk, like, oh, I'm White Tiger. Is there crime over here? Oh, is there crime over here? Do. Bam, dead.
Hey, honey, take a good picture. I'm dead. What an idiot.
Not only did the scene look ridiculous, but it reinforced that either White Tiger was a really shitty superhero, or that offing superheroes is a lot easier than everybody made it out to be. So now we're into episode 4, and it was so bad I needed to make a list. This is inflamed, all right? This was kind of a light pink yesterday. Now it's a tomato sauce red after having watched the bullshit that was episode 4. So let's get into it. 5 times episode 4 made my eyes bleed. First off, the opening scene, White Tiger's niece coming in while Matt Murdock is talking to the coroner. And it's just terrible, over the top, dramatic child acting, but it's made so much worse because the writing is so bad. This girl has to be like, what, 11, 12?
You got him out of jail. A lot of good that did him, huh?
Like, bitch, you wanted him to stay in jail?
You don't gotta be good at math to put 1 and 1 together, Because he was just Hector from the Heights, and they're the fucking cops.
Hey, that's just the way we talk in the clink.
And then she breaks down and gives Matt Murdock a hug, which is kind of weird if you think about it. Like, if it was like a normal dude, that's fine, but he's blind. Like, there's something about like just going up and hugging a blind person that can't see you. I don't know. It seems like there's some consent issues, but that's just me. And then you have Cuckpin in marriage counseling. This titan, this crime boss, bigger than life, able to break bodies and go toe to toe with the best suits in the city and have it his way. He's now been reduced to nothing. He has to sit in marriage counseling, listen to his wife go on about her affair.
It was his hands.
He's weakened, he's emasculated, and worse than all of that, it's boring and I don't fucking care about it. And Vincent D'Onofrio is doing his best dramatic Kingpin impersonation, where this is supposed to be deep and thoughtful and menacing and not weak and very incel-like. I'm almost getting vibes from, what was that Jordan Peele movie? Them? Us? I don't know, the one with the clones. Once upon a time, there was a little girl. At this point, it's just cartoonish and it doesn't hit well. And I don't like it. Thing number 3, you have Leroy, the prisoner. Now, I would have enjoyed this in any other context because they painted this dickhead who's a repeat offender. He's stealing snacks and then denying it. He said, I didn't do nothing. And then they're like, oh no, bro, like they got a lot of cameras. Like you definitely did this thing. And then he's like, well, I ain't going to jail. Go get me my probation. Go do your job. Now, they made him a real unlikable piece of shit because he has a long rap sheet. He's disrespectful. He's making fun of Matt Murdock for being blind.
I get the friggin' blind dude.
He doesn't take care of anybody else, doesn't take care of himself. Now, normally this would be a moment of progress. The media actually portraying something that is way more indicative of what repeat offenders tend to be like, as opposed to what's normally portrayed. Like, what was it, Wonder Woman 84, where there's like the homeless guy sleeping on the bench and he's like the hobo with a heart of gold. And then the villain is like the white guy in the suit and trench coat, and he obviously has a full-time job where he probably makes pretty good money, and obviously he just goes out and gets drunk and harasses people in the park because that's how those stereotypes actually work out. Now, who the character is in the show and what the writers want you to do with them, how they want you to see him, those are two different things. And once you realize how the writers see this man, it takes you right back to who the fuck are they hiring to write like real life relatable scenarios. They had the sad music. They had him say, bro, you don't get it. I got a panhandle. I got arrested and missed my appointment for my food stamps. I don't get free food anymore because I got arrested. It's not fair. And he's literally making the argument that it costs you more to put me away than to just give me the food. So just give me the food. It's a rationalization for stealing over and over, and then it's topped off with Matt Murdock looking thoughtfully down and saying,
You're right.
I mean, this hit my ear the exact same way as Doctor Strange talking to Wanda after she enslaved an entire town.
And people were hurt.
But you put things right in the end, and that was never in doubt.
It just shows the morality and the worldview of the writers and how fucking out of touch it is with actual real life. And it will just never not be the most entertaining part of these movies and shows. Thing number 4, more Kingpin. Kingpin doing political shit. Him as a green politician being informed by his staff and being taken step by step on like how to reach his goals. Like, we don't care about the goals. We certainly don't care about the procedure to the goals. And also, it makes Kingpin look like he doesn't really know what he's doing. You'd think he'd have more of an inside handle on how the ins and outs of politics work if he was actually going to go become mayor in order to pull off some grand scheme. He seems very green, and it makes him seem weak and not at all like a criminal mastermind.
Conduct a feasibility study, land surveys, building permits, zoning law, environmental impact, traffic issues.
And then there was a horrible kids rendition of We Built This City that went on for like 3 minutes. I'm going to say that's 80% responsible for the flare-up today. The scene reminded me of Kindergarten Cop, and it's just one of many that makes it hard to take Kingpin seriously as a villain in this show. Thing number 5 was a Punisher. Now, this was a big one because remember when I said this? I just get the feeling that a lot of the events start in the writer's head with some cool scene, some mic drop moment that gives them goosies, and then they just do whatever they need to do to connect the dots to bring that scene about. That's fucking this. Matt Murdock shows up, they haven't seen each other in God knows how long, and then Frank just starts yelling about shit that's like specific to Matt, like he's been in the show this entire time. Like, just out of nowhere, he's like, I don't think that's what you're here for. I think you want to hurt someone. I think you came for my permission. He starts, like, bringing up Foggy. Like, yeah, you saved lives. You saved Foggy's life. Say his name. Say his name.
Say his name, you coward! Say his name!
I am here to scare you straight!
This is unearned drama. It was just dropped in out of nowhere. It would have made sense if this was episode 4 after 3 episodes of them interacting with each other, of the Punisher being present. It would have made sense if this was like a dream and the Punisher was like a representation of Matt's conscience or some shit. For Murdock to just drop in and have Franco immediately to fucking yelling his berserker, oh, what are you here for? With all these one-liners lined up, so they could just jump straight into like the deep introspection for Matt Murdock. It was super bizarre. And this is the big problem with the show because there's a really juicy, just thematic stake that the show could be sinking its teeth into, and it rejects every single chance it can. It starts with Matt seeing Foggy die and then losing his cool and trying to kill somebody. So not only does he feel responsible for killing somebody, so he has to justify his actions going forward as a vigilante if it's going to actually hurt people, but he also doesn't trust himself to not cross that line and do something that he sees as morally reprehensible. So far, none of this show has dealt with any of those issues in any serious way. There hasn't been any real dialogue around it. We haven't had scenes that really show that. It's Matt being mad that he lost his cool on the cops, which didn't make any fucking sense in the first place because he could have left and didn't. He waited around knowing that they'd probably get violent with him. And then when he did lose his cool, it's because they were about to kill him. So completely justified. The closest we've gotten to like a philosophical discussion is the Punisher just like randomly telling Matt all of these things relevant to his life. But for as on the nose as it was, none of it even specifically addressed the actual crisis that Matt is supposedly going through. We assume he's still going through it. I don't know. They never fucking talk about it. This all felt flat. It felt like they want to be philosophical, but they don't actually have those dots connected. So the Punisher was just kind of throwing out random shit. And none of it really stuck for me. But I'm saying, if Matt's not suiting up because he feels guilty for being responsible for Foggy's death, we should see something that hints at that. If Matt's hanging it up because he doesn't trust himself, maybe he thinks he has an anger problem, we should see something that hints at that. Maybe Matt's hanging it up because he actually believes now that vigilantes are a bad thing. We should see something that hints at that. And none of it does. So that whole diatribe fell flat. And I don't know. I'm going to watch next episode because I guess the Punisher's coming back. I was worried for a second he was just a random cheap one-off to set him up for whatever they do with them next. But it looks like he is going to be part of the show, which I think will make it better. And hopefully the action that they hint at in episode 5 saves us from some of this boring, monotonous, political, melodramatic, Disney Plus bullshit. So that's all I got for today, guys. Go ahead and vent in the comments. Tell me why I'm a fucking idiot and Daredevil's the best and nobody should question this show. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, this is Bromley. I'll see you.